Well, who knows? Maybe you'll bump into Tom Brady at some point this weekend.
You never know. You just never know.
I know you're in the facilities there. Know, maybe he's looking for somebody to throw to because maybe Tom Brady's considering a comeback to the NFL, or at least
why not?
That's what he said on the Deep Cut.
You can't tackle anymore.
Yeah, he can't. On the Deep Cut podcast, Tom Brady was
talking.
Is
that OJ's podcast?
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
Hey, you know what? There it was, folks.
Oh, no.
That was the one.
Is it too soon?
That was brilliantly done.
I just need to know.
Brilliantly done.
Q has been on fire, man.
On fire.
His shot game today, I mean, he is. Jeez.
You're way under par in this round,
God.
Brady. Congratulations.
Bang.
He is firing away here on a Football Friday.
Bang.
But Tom Brady was on the Deep Cut podcast, and he spoke and was asked. I can't.
I can't get through it now.
I can't.
I can't get through it.
It's been spoiled. It's been spoiled. They had a really good thing going, and then Brady stepped in and said, "I'll take that."
They got to change the name of that podcast now.
Don't bleed out. Let's go.
Oh my God. Oh no.
Well, listen.
Is the show sponsored by Isotoner?
No.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Well, Tom Brady was talking on that podcast.
Yeah, he was.
And he was asked about the potential of, who knows, maybe giving it another go, a la Joe Flacco at some point in the middle of a season if a team needed him. And here's how it sounded.
One day there's a situation, right? Maybe it's the 49ers, maybe, heading to the playoffs. Offense is great.
Patriots,
somebody,
Raiders,
look,
could be, you never know.
God forbid somebody goes down. Would you pick up that phone?
I'm not opposed to it. If they would, I don't know if they're going to let me if I become an owner in the NFL team, but I don't know if, I don't know. I'm always going to be in good shape. I'll always be able to throw the ball. So to come in for a little bit, like MJ coming back, I don't know if they let me, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
God, and it's back. The speculation.
He still works out like he plays. He still throws the ball. He still goes out. I see him at UCLA every so often. He's at UCLA. Guess who he'd be throwing the ball to? Tony Gonzalez. Them dudes be out there running like route progressions like they're practicing in the offseason to go play for real. So he probably still could do it at a high level. And you can't touch them anymore. They've been made off limits to defenders in the NFL. Why not? Why not go back and just throw the ball? I mean, it's just going around and throwing the ball anyway. Why not? They're going to blow it dead if they get near him.
I would say this, too. I mean, the last 2 years he played, he led the league in attempts. 2 years ago, I guess 3 now, he led the league in yards and touchdowns. I mean, it wasn't like when he stepped down, he wasn't playing at a higher level than most in the NFL. And so when you think about like the San Francisco 49ers, because that was the first team that was kind of thrown out there, and this is no disrespect to Brock Purdy, but that's a really talented team to be around. I'm sure they could find a way of making it work if it presented itself that way. But I don't know, man. He's done so much already in the game. I wonder how he would view, coming in late in the season, even if they did have the ultimate success and win a Super Bowl, for a guy who's won more than anyone, been to more than anyone, would he view it the same in his mind if he wasn't there to do it for the entirety of the season? I wonder if he even thinks about that at all, because, again, only he has that unique perspective given his accomplishments. But I also wonder if this is more just to create buzz, if this is the one way you could do that for the short window of time where you can always kind of put that out there as how, hey, maybe I'd come back. Because on the other side of the conversation is his off-the-field interest. It's potential interest into becoming a minority owner, maybe one day a majority owner. And unless he becomes Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro, I don't know that that's going to be allowed. So there's that hurdle that he would, A, have to get approval from first to become this minority owner and eventually one day maybe a majority owner. But B, there's also the element of broadcasting. He's getting compensated a lot of money. And who has the Super Bowl this year? Fox. So he's going to be calling the biggest live event in the world. And he would potentially bounce out to go be a part of the team playing in the biggest live event in the world. I mean, maybe Fox is, okay, we got Greg Olsen. We feel good about that. Maybe they'd be okay with that. I don't know. I know he mentions, too, in this interview, talking about helping out his next teammates. That'd be putting your teammates in a tough spot. Now, I'll say this about folks in television. From my experience now working in the television industry, people in TV tend to adjust pretty darn well. Like when you do live TV, they've seen it all. They got technical issues. They got people issues. They got all kinds of stuff that they just deal with. And a lot of times it doesn't filter through to what you actually see on TV. So I'm sure they could adjust. But when someone makes a big financial commitment in you, like Fox has, and if you're running to truly become a majority owner of an NFL franchise, like I don't know that I'd want to mess up either of those two opportunities.
Do you guys think, obviously, because you've called games, when you called games and went through the preparation of calling that game and were around the coaches and players and the pregame interviews and actually in the booth and being around it, did that make you miss playing more, or did you just look at it as a separate job? Because I wonder if he gets to calling games and it's either going to want to make him scratch the itch even more, or if he looks at it and goes, that's close enough, that gives me my fix, and I'm content with where I'm at.
Yeah, for me, I didn't think about playing when I called the games. I thought about trying to be the best that I could possibly be. I just feel like everything I approach it with the mindset that I'm going to be the best at it that I humanly can possibly be, just based off of, just my level of expectation. So I wasn't watching the game like, man, I wish I was out there. I'd have made that play.
Did it make you think like, God, I wish I could still do it, or I wish I still did it?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I just wonder.
And I don't know. It might be different for everybody. I mean, who's played at the level that Tom Brady's played at? So you think about all the fanfare and all the things that he's had to deal with, or has experienced being an active player. I mean, he's probably had some freaking amazing experiences off of playing. But, I mean, I think he's gotten all of the juice out of his, out of his squeeze. I really do. I mean, he can say that if he wants to, that he would come back, and who knows. But in reality, he knows he doesn't need to play any more football. He knows that that's just real. To me, that's just casual talk of somebody who, I know I can still throw the football. I know I stay in some pretty good shape. And if the opportunity called for it, maybe I'd entertain it. Like, that's entertainment factor. And that's one thing that Tom is really good at.
He is, man. He's gotten really good at that post-career. I was going to ask you, though, do you feel like adventures on, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you come across this from time to time. Remember some of those guys you meet were like, oh man, you should have seen me back in high school, man. I was this, and you're like, yeah, man, we're 40.
Yeah, man.
Like,
why are you still wearing a Letterman's jacket?
Yeah, that's
relax, dude. I still wear my Letterman jacket.
From high school?
Yeah, from high school.
If I had it out, but here's the thing: I wear mine for fashion purposes. I don't wear it for like to
but
try to like be the Letterman.
Like, you're not pumping yourself up to other people about your high school days.
I'm not like Varsity Blues, where I'm like going to the high school after party, the fifth quarter, and drinking beers with the high school players.
Well, that's acceptable. The Letterman's jacket's not.
That's so funny. Well, somebody should kick me there if you see me at a party with my Letterman jacket mingling with the other players from the school. But that is funny. You
got to be careful. You
do.
I think you talk about it too much. You venture into to being that guy,
like kind of douchey.
Yeah, I'll say this:
fiduciary.
The more you get out, and LaVar and Jonas, I'm sure you experience this. You talk to people who are successful in business. Like, that's a different world now. Like, people who are just like these serial entrepreneurs who start a company, scale a company, sell a company for millions and millions and millions. Like,
they talk more crap. League. They talk more crap than players do.
100%. And it's
I've been a part of that all week.
Yeah,
it's the funniest
thing. But that's its own league. That's what I'm trying to say.
It is its own league.
And when you stop playing, you realize how big this business world is. You realize how competitive it is, you realize like there's a lot of people who, very similar to football players, when you play pro football, they're driven by money, contracts, and success. It's no different, but it's a much wider net, right? You can't, if you're 6'4", 225 pounds, you could play quarterback in the NFL. That helps, right? Well, some of these guys who are successful in business don't have any of those athletic skills, but guess what? They know how to become extremely successful businesmen.
Yeah.
And I'm just pointing it out because
and have the same success as you in those circles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, or
so your muscles wasn't the great equalizer in that scenario. Okay, just so we clear.
Yeah, but not to get off on a tangent. Like there's this realm of like once you get out of playing sports, it's like, oh yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you did this, did that, and it's like, yeah, what are you doing now? And it's one of those sorts of deals, and that's where. It's like it's cool to talk about going back. It's cool to someone called, but there's a window of time, and once that ends, then it's going to become like, well, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? That's something that every former athlete, especially professional athlete, faces, is answering that question. What are you doing now? And that's where, like, if you're Tom Brady and your guys, you play a professional game and you're competitive like that, you're wired to want to be like, no, I'm successful in this too. Like reinvent yourself, reinvent your identity. That's where I'm curious to see, like, if a team did call, how he goes about managing that as he's trying to segue into the broadcast world, segue into an owner, segue into whatever it is in the business world, because I know he wants to be a billionaire. Like, I know that's his goal. And if that's his goal, it takes a different type of attention and focus to what you're trying to do.
By the way, I also think if there was going to be a franchise that would call him, it's probably going to be a team that's already called him and as recently as last year, and it would be the Niners. And that would be a fun pairing. If they needed him, that John Lynch and that Kyle Shanahan would make the call. They did it a year ago. Brock Purdy even said, look, I get it. They weren't sure where I was at physically, so they reached out.
Yeah, but that's the problem now with Brock Purdy is he's closer to needing an extension, and on top of that, he got him to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like now it comes to a point where it's like, okay, like the circumstances are a little bit different going into this season if it happens this season. Now, granted, they're saying if he got injured and he wasn't able to be there, but I don't know. Like the circumstances are different now moving forward, I think, for Purdy.
Joe Flacco gave everybody hope. Like now Tom Brady's looking at that, and Flacco's like, all right, I'll just go comeback player of the year. Be so impressive that I get a new deal after the season, and now who knows? Maybe we'll get to see Tom Brady.
I mean, it's another thing that drives them is proving people wrong. Yeah. So if there was an element of, justification to him personally, like they didn't think I could do it. Watch this.
And also,
there is that element of Tom Brady. That's kind of what has driven him to be what he's become in his career that he has already had.
I mean, do you think he listens to Tony Romo call games and goes, "Yeah, I'll beat that, no problem"? Like that'll be my competitive mark. That'll be what I look at moving forward with Fox.
He's just Tom Brady is that. He is indeed that type of dude. Some of the most successful dudes you could consider to be at the core of it are petty dudes. Like, I'm better than you. Like, why do they think you're better than me? I have no idea. I'm better than you. Like, he's 100% one of those. He's wired that way in terms of how he looks at things. So I think if it made sense, because at the same time, I mean, he's very calculated. And that's not something that he takes lightly. I've been around him quite a few times, and it's funny to go from when we were teens and in our 20s to where we are as adults, and how your mind kind of develops, and then you get around people who have had like just their success taken. I mean, none have taken off more in the athletic realm than Tom, but I mean, he's a very calculated dude. So he's not going to make a decision that's going, like we said, or talk about it in a way where it's like, oh, like this dude is delusional or whatever it may be. It's going to be rooted in some real reasoning and logic that you can pull away from it and be like, okay, this makes sense that he's coming back for X, Y, and Z. I mean, if you think about it, Magic Johnson did it.
Yeah.
Magic left, came back. He was on his way to wanting to become a billionaire as well. And, he had the situation take place with his health, left the game abruptly. But, he came back to do the Olympics or not. Was it the Olympics or was it the All-Star game?
All-Star
game. He came back. So if he came back to do like a playoff run or something like that, that wasn't just crazy extensive, I don't see why that I don't feel like outside of calling the games, if they had a chance to make it to the Super Bowl and he can't call the games in the booth, outside of that, I don't even see how it would be that big of an issue if he played 2-3 games. I don't get it.
It'd be fun to watch, too.
It would. It'd be interesting.
2 pros and a cup of Joe here on Fox Sports Radio. Coming up next year, though, from the TireRack.com studios, we are going to get the very latest on a wild story involving a degenerate, a scandal, a superstar, all of that mixed into one, and we'll get the details on that next year on FSR. But what if there was someone who wanted to help you find a job? Not a website, but a person in your community that would help you for free. Choose Express Employment Professionals, and that's exactly what you'll get. Express Employment Professionals is the local jobs expert you can trust, and they never charge a fee to help with your job search. Go to expresspros.com, that's expresspros.com, to find the office near you or download the Express Jobs app to get started. With a wide range of opportunities in a variety of industries, from welding to sales, forklift operator to customer service, the team at Express is ready to help you or someone you know take the next career step. Whether you're looking for a contract job or a new full-time role, turn to Express Employment. Interviewing with Express can be as easy as a phone call, and one application with Express Employment puts you in the running for numerous opportunities in your community. Don't go it alone in your job search. Visit expresspros.com. That's expresspros.com today.